The historical Renaissance was a revival of art, technology, and architecture. And now, history is repeating itself within the Latino community. We must be the storytellers of our future, the architects of our destiny. It's our responsibility to show the world who we are and who we will become. Gone are the days when Latinos stepped on each other to get ahead. Now, we must lock arms and climb to the top together. For decades, our stories were told by others, creating stereotypical images of villains and simpletons, but no more. While the traditional Hollywood system continues to silence us, God has given us the mission to elevate the Latino voice in every space of culture. This is the Chicano Renaissance, and this is just the beginning.
Made it. Check. Hey. Good morning.
Welcome, everyone, to the Elevate Conference, Day 2.
Hey, what's up?
Hollywood. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Calypso. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Good morning to everybody.
Did you get some rest last night?
Yeah.
Did you check out the mixer last night?
No, because I got some rest.
Oh, that's right. Me too, actually. Listen, what's up, player? How are we doing? Good morning. Everybody got their coffee in hand. Everyone awake. Everybody got some rest. Who went to the mixer last night?
Everybody
okay.
did except for us.
That's what's up. Yeah.
How was it? Was it good?
Great.
I love it.
So I want to take a second to introduce our lovely host, Calypso.
Thank you, Dave.
That's right, of course.
My name is Calypso with an I instead of a Y. I know my parents. Oh my God. So I am on the Chicano Hollywood TV app. I have a show which is called The Calypso Show. It is a talk show, and I'm inviting you all to come out and check out season 1. So yeah.
Congrats.
My lovely co-host Dave.
Oh, I'm lovely today.
Dave, it's your time to talk.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Dave, I know you're doing your thing. What are you doing?
No. I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you to the Chicano Hollywood family for allowing me to be up here and talking to you lovely folks. But we have a great day in store. You're the early birds.
Yeah.
And you guys are definitely going to catch some worms today. So.
Yes.
But yeah, no, my name is Dave. I've been, with these guys for, a little while now. So if you want to follow me on socials, it's all good. Dave. Also Latino Press LA. We're going to have a great thing in store for you today. But we want to, you guys have some
Did you guys
gift
get a bag?
bags.
Okay.
So take them out. There's
Take
some stuff
really
in there.
quick.
We're going to do an unbagging here.
Unbag with me. Okay.
Unbag with me. There we
We
go.
got a nice notebook,
There
a
we go.
Chicano Hollywood notebook. Okay, really quick. I know we all have our phones and we use that to take notes, but actually take notes from your notebook because this is a conference, and you never know. Maybe something that you didn't take on your phone, you'll have it on your notebook.
That's right.
I'm
Write it
old
down.
school, Dave. I got to take notes old school way.
I love it.
Okay? And then we want to talk to you guys about this flyer. Please bust it out right now.
It's the white one with all the QR codes on it. There's a bunch of great
There's
information
all
attached.
about Chicano Hollywood. There's just things where you could purchase as well. All things to know about Chicano Hollywood TV, the app, the music app as well. They just launched a magazine.
Yes.
Yeah.
If anybody was here on Thursday night, it was a great experience. We launched the Chicano Hollywood magazine. It was a great event. And then stay tuned for that. We had Mario Lopez on the first issue.
Looking
Which was really
young
cool. Yeah, and
very
congrats.
young.
Very young.
Never ages.
Ageless, and congrats to Daniela for putting that together. But
Congrats
yeah,
to
anyway.
our girl. When you want to, okay, just really quick, when I first found out about Chicano Hollywood, you know how they told me? It's kind of like the Chicano Netflix, So really, it's really what it is, but our voices, our faces, and our stories. And you can watch my show on that too.
That's right.
So.
Chicano Hollywood TV. Download the app. It'll take you right to the app from the
Yes,
QR
it will.
code right there. So check it out right now while you guys are sitting in between takes here. You can explore the website, Musica, the master classes are on there. the magazine, the app,
Yes.
the streaming app, and then of course you can buy merch if you want to.
Like the nice merch that
That's
Mr.
right.
Dave is modeling. Vuelta,
right.
vuelta, vuelta. Okay, see?
That's right.
Love it. Okay, so are you guys ready for the first panelist? Oh, this is really good. I was talking to them back in the green room, and this is actually very necessary information.
Of course.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and bring up our first panelist and our first moderator. Please give it up all the way from Las Vegas.
That's right.
From Vegas. He goes by the name of Rob Macias. Everyone put your hands
There
together.
we go.
Hey, thank you, everybody, and good morning. Good morning, Chicano Hollywood. How we doing today? Really happy to be out here. Like Calypso said, came out here from Las Vegas to share some great information with everyone. Thank you for making it out this morning. I know everyone was having a good time last night. I was. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring out some officials from different states, from Texas, from El Paso. First, we're going to start off with Drew. Drew from the El Paso Film Commission. Welcome on out. Give him a warm round of applause.
Good morning. Good morning.
Great.
Hey, familiar faces.
And then now I have two lovely ladies that came out here from Las Vegas with me. We have Danette and Kim. Please just welcome them to the stage from the Nevada Film Office. Great. All right, so since we're the first panel, let's just everybody get comfortable. And the main thing that we're gonna be sharing with you is just resources, tips, in order to get your projects off the ground, especially in these different areas, El Paso and mainly Las Vegas, but all of Nevada. So if you want to take notes, take some video, follow-up questions, we'll have ways to get in contact with us. But this is all great information for you to know for your projects, independent filmmakers. And I'm going to pull out my phone now. We're going to make it real easy. I'm not going to make you guys think too much. Just follow along with me, okay? All right, so first question, and I'm just gonna go down the line here. Then Drew, if you could start it off, and then we'll just pass it off to Kim and Danette there. So please introduce yourself, your position, and how long have you been in the filmmaking industry, and where'd you get your start?
Well, first, thank you all for having us, and shout out to Chicano Hollywood. They've been very active in El Paso, and Abel Rodriguez is our representative there, so thank you so much for having us. My name is Drew Mayer Oaks, and I am not Latino, but I always wanted to be. I grew up in Lubbock and moved as quickly as I could to Central Texas and had my first breakfast taco on a movie set in 1983. And that was a horror movie called Splatter, which I don't think is available, but it might be on Tubi, I'm not sure. So I started as a PA and was at film school in Austin, worked on some features there in Austin in the 80s and realized that it was, it was a lot of work. It was not exactly what I wanted to do. I got a job with the Texas Film Commission. I was very fortunate to start there in 1991. And of course, in the 90s, it was a very different time for film. There weren't the incentives that we have now, and it was a very exciting time to be doing that. I moved into the city of San Antonio in the early 2000s, and I was there for about 12 years as director of the film office. While there, we created some filmmaker programs and tried to support our local community. So my experience has mainly been in non-incentivized areas and areas that we're trying to grow our local film community and support local events.
Awesome. Thank you, Drew. All right. Kim, would you mind?
Hi, I'm Kim Spurgeon. I'm the director of the Nevada Film Office. And again, thank you to Chicano Hollywood for inviting us out here. In college, I actually did a research project on the history of Mexican cinema. So this is kind of a full circle moment for me. So I got my start because I wanted to work in the production industry. I went to film school and then moved out to Las Vegas and ended up getting a job with a small production company and made connections from there. I became freelance when I was laid off during the first recession. But I had enough connections, and Las Vegas is a pretty small community in terms of the local filmmaking community, so I was able to fit right in and then When a job became available at the Nevada Film Office, I kind of had the same reaction. I'm like, this is a grind. I want to start a family. I want to have work-life balance. So that's when I started at the film office, and I've been there for 10 years.
Hey, Danette.
My turn. Hello, my name is Danette Toll. I'm the Deputy Director of the Nevada Film Office, so it feels like I need to carry a badge, but I grew up out here, actually, in the IE, in the 909, where it's all burning down right now. I went to Altaloma High School. I went to UC Riverside for college. I majored in foreign languages, which kind of is an ancillary skill. So I do have a degree in Spanish, but don't practice with me until I have a couple drinks. I get more fluent as it goes by. I worked at the media library. My background is movie reference. It's Forrest Gump. It's like all over the place. But I started in college at the media library because of the language. I had to do all the tapes and movies and stuff like that. I've always loved cinema. I actually grew up, my dad's a television cameraman and worked in Hollywood and commuted from the 909 every day to Hollywood. And so that's where the soft spot comes from for crew, especially camera operators. So that's kind of my experience with it. And then at the time, he didn't want me to go into film because at that time, it's like you don't want your only daughter in the film industry. It's changing now, thank goodness. Moved to Las Vegas, get a job, got married, wound up in the Venetian Hotel. I was a concierge there for a minute, and then talk about work-life balance. I didn't want to do Thanksgiving anymore in the employee dining room. So then went to the Nevada Cancer Institute after that. I opened a library there, so I have a master's degree in library science, so I told you I'm all over the place. And then got laid off, saw the state job opened, government job, but I thought, that's shiny, it's gonna be film, and it's better than Department of Corrections or the DMV or whatever, so that's cool. And then 8 to 5, it's a public service job. All my jobs have been public service, and I'm sure we'll explain later, but librarian, concierge, film office, they're all public service jobs helping people find resources that they need, and so it's the same skill set each time.
Great, great. So now that everybody is a little bit more familiar with them and seeing their backgrounds and where they come from, just normal people, even though they may work for the state, something with a government title, normal people here to help you. So let's just roll over to the second question. Now, in your own words, how would you best describe exactly what it is that your office does? Drew?
Well, we do a little bit of everything. And as a city film office, we have a slightly different mission from a state film commission. And as I mentioned, I've worked in smaller markets and non-super incentivized areas over the years. But we provide basic film commission services, which are location assistance, permitting, and basically facilitation. So a good example would be what I did recently. So we had a large Warner Brothers movie that came into El Paso this summer. So we started working with them almost 2 years ago on locations, and really the first 6 months was simply finding out if what they wanted to do was possible in El Paso. And it turned out that it was, after meeting with business groups in the downtown area and citizen groups in our downtown management district. We realized that this can be done, and we can do it safely and efficiently. So, and then after that, we get into the nitty-gritty. So, had a lot of Zoom calls with 15, 20, 30, 40 people from all different city departments, including trash pickup and street sweeping and traffic and engineering, in addition to the business groups that we were affecting, to coordinate this production. So that's kind of like the super nitty-gritty part of what we do. But most of the year, I'm also working with our local film community because we have a very strong commitment to supporting creators in our own community. And we want to make sure that filmmakers, animators, musicians, composers, anybody that's working in this space feels like they can call our office and ask questions, and we can help direct them to events like this. Networking is key to this industry, and that's how you succeed.
Great, thank you, thank you. Hey, Kim?
So I think the number one thing to take away is that we are a free resource for you to use. Really, with any question, we are here to help you with your project in whatever capacity that may be. Whether you're a location manager or the director or producer, help you get connected with local crew, local vendors, local services. We want your project to succeed in our region so that we can get more. We also, at the state level, we market the state as a film-friendly destination. And, the best marketing tool is word of mouth, as we all know. So when one production has a good experience filming in Nevada, they'll tell their producer friends, they'll tell everyone else, and the word will spread that we have good crews, we have local services, and we can get you connected with the resources you need. But not only do we help local filmmakers, on the other side of that is we are your advocate within government. We help educate the government people who know nothing about the film industry with what you're trying to do, the value it brings to us as a society in terms of our storytelling and representation. So we are also your advocate, and being able to just explain what this industry is to those who don't know is also very valuable, which is why we value our relationships with our local filmmakers, so we know kind of what's happening boots on the ground.
Yeah, very good answer.
So yeah, everything they just said, I think a big part of it too is that we liaise and we advise. So it gets into a lot of dealing. It's a relationship business, right? So we have to have relationships with government officials, with people on the local municipal areas, with the film schools, with the film students, with studio executives. So we've got to manage all these relationships, and sometimes there's a lot of troubleshooting that happens. So our job is to kind of be the middleman between what the production wants to do, what the location allows, and how to get to the middle negotiation between both those people so that, the location isn't destroyed and the film got what it needed and wanted, and, some of that. And then there's all the trouble that comes up on set, just, fly-by-night things, calls that we get, like, there's a guy running around on the strip with a mock AK, like, what is that, or people call and it's like, they didn't know it was a movie, they thought it was a real arrest, or things like that. We're also very much kind of like a parent, like a mom, I think, to the community. So people always reach out to us, and feel free to do this. Scams that go around, email scams, crew scams, casting scams, things that look uncomfortable, you're not sure about, projects that people ask you to work on, any kind of weird things that you're not sure about. We're here to vet those things and tell you, we can look at an email and say that's absolutely a scam. Don't reply, don't pay, don't engage. But even stuff that's way out of our jurisdiction, like things that, you should call the cops for that, So everyone will be like, hey, so what do I do if there's illegal drugs being sold on set? I'm like, call the cops. Or during COVID, I would get the call hey, I'm in a house and no one's wearing masks and we're all eating gumbo from the same pot. I'm like, or they'll say I don't really feel comfortable with that. I'm like, well, then leave, you have the choice to do that. But I think they're just looking for that extra reassurance, yes, it's okay to leave if you're on a job and you're getting harassed. It's okay to leave, that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of relationships.
Okay, thank you, Danette. So this next question is just really pertaining to see if there's any hidden bias, because sometimes people are hesitant to reach out for resources because they want to know, what's your angle in it? Why do you want to help me? So the question is, did you expect to be working for a state or city agency? And are there any personal projects that you have which you still want to work on? Drew?
Oh, that's an interesting question. And I think one of the things that I found very helpful in my career has been that I am a bit of a creator. I don't have a lot of time to make films, but about 15 years ago, I started doing, now it's 20 years ago now. So started doing the 48-hour weekend film competition, because I thought, this is great. I can do just a weekend. I get a pass from my wife, and the kids can help if they want. So I started making these short films in the weekend. I've done 14 of these so far, which is a lot of fun, and none of them have won any prizes. But what it did was it helped me communicate with my film community that I feel your pain. I know what this is like, and I started, of course, in 2004 when we were shooting on mini DV, and it was, you had to recapture the footage, and it was a huge challenge. And I really wanted to show our community, it's like, well, if an old dude like me can do this, you can do it too, and you can do it better than me. So that was an interesting part of the career choice that I took. And of course, people ask me, hey, can you read my script? And I'm like, yeah, I love to read it, and I can help you break it down. We can look at locations. You know, and they say, is it any good? And I was like, I thought it was fascinating, you know, but I'm not buying it. So take my comments with a grain of salt, certainly.
Okay, yeah. How about you, Kim? Yeah.
So I never saw myself as a government employee. So I just kind of ended up here because the job was available and it seemed interesting at the time, because I really wanted to go into production. I would not call myself a filmmaker. I am not creative in that way. My skill set is really in organization and paperwork, so I always worked in the production office. And I loved that there was that technical side, you know, that organizational side of filmmaking that is so necessary, because I just wanted to be part of the process. And I want to support the people whose vision is on screen, and filmmaking really is a team sport, and I was just happy to be part of that team, and I love seeing projects come through our office that I truly believe in. You know, it's so inspiring, especially when you're on that team and making a film, to come together, all of you, put in the blood, sweat, and tears of that project, and then see the final thing on the big screen. It's a magical moment, and I just love to be a part of it.
I would agree with that. I've always, yeah, no, that's a great comment. I've always been a creative person. I'm the opposite of Kim. I'm not numbers and lines. I'm like circles and, you know, the creative side. I did, you know, performing arts in high school, so it's always been near and dear to me, like dance and music and piano. And, you know, my dad grew up in film. I did at one point in time make a short film. It wasn't nothing to do with the 48, but I needed a creative outlet. None of us really grew up and saying, like, I really want to work for the state when I grow up and be a government employee. I don't think anyone starts there. But I was struggling at work because, you know, although it sounds like a flashy job, it's very much an office job. It's a desk job. We're not on set, like, shaking hands with celebrities. We're behind the desk and we're answering phone calls and sending emails. So it gets kind of tedious. So after a number of years, I decided, you know what? I was very, very frustrated with my work situation. And I know maybe a lot of people can relate, but it was very misogynistic and stale and, you know, very...
Not anymore.
Not anymore. We're all girls. Woo! Yes, yes. So it was, you can imagine, like, you know, I started 15 years ago, and it was like I was one of the only females, not in just the film office, but the entire agency that supports us, so the Governor's Office of Economic Development. It was all older male, very, very much so, very sort of Mad Men, like, who made the coffee, can you make it stronger kind of thing, and I was like, you know, no. And then there was a huge, like, make your own, like, yeah. And so I just started bringing my own coffee. I was just like silent rebellion type. And then I was very, very frustrated about pay scales and treatment and the glass ceiling that you all experience. And so as an outlet, I decided to use that frustration and make a short film about it through the connections I've made in the film community helping you guys out. So I had somebody write the script. I had all kinds of friends. It didn't really cost anything that were on board with it. I'm like, you want to direct? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And so we crewed up. You know, but I went through the whole thing, like find insurance and pull the permits and, you know, do the casting, which was crazy. Being like telling people like you're not right for the part, like that was horrible. Yeah, so I went through the whole process of it, and, you know, part of our job is to help you film legitimately. We know that, you know, guerrilla shoots happen, but it's not that hard to actually get the permit and get the permissions and all that. So I went through that, and the cost of, you know, the permit and the insurance and all that, and I did a 3-day movie called Ceiling, a 3-day shoot, and it was about me. It was about a girl who's working at a place, getting paid less than her male counterpart, and she has nowhere to go, and, you know, that kind of thing. So that, for me, was just like, in the end, there's some, like, revenge where she, like, you know, does some baller thing and becomes the boss. But, yeah, it was just very, very frustrating, and I've just found that as an outlet.
Okay, thank you, Danette.
I think we have a clip from that movie right now, right?
So we're going to keep steamrolling here through. So when it comes to all the services or the depth of the resources that your film commissions offer, which would you really encourage independent filmmakers to take advantage of? And do any of these services provided cost anything?
Well, of course, our services are free, and thank you, Kim, for reminding me that it is free. And it continues to surprise me that young filmmakers will call and say, well, how much does this cost? I said, well, it's free, so that's what we do. I think for me, the most important thing is to make sure that creators understand that we're there to help, and we're accessible. And we have a creator in the house this morning from El Paso, Rafael Prieto, who has a really, really wonderful limited series concept that he's completely created in El Paso that is absolutely amazing. And I've tried to support his work by talking about it, reposting it on our social media, and helping him navigate how to move through the system and try to get this project to the next step. And that's something that we do regularly, and we can just talk. And I don't mind talking to people that are shooting guerrilla style. I mean, if you're going to be shooting something, you don't have to do permits if in our city, if you're on private property or if you're somewhere that is not busy and you're not doing anything strange. Obviously, if you've got a bunch of guys with SWAT team outfits with rifles and that sort of thing, we would want to coordinate that with you. But it's very easy to film in our jurisdictions and all across the state of Texas, and I would assume that in most states and cities outside of the major production centers, the film offices have kind of the same attitude. It's like, we can help you, it's easy to film here, you don't have to be concerned that it's going to be difficult or challenging to get this done.
Yeah, well said, yeah. Kim?
I would say that there's no one thing that I would say you should use us as a resource for, because each production is unique. And maybe you already have certain relationships in our jurisdiction or wherever you're trying to film, but you have those little gaps. So we have locations. We all have location databases on our website where you can search film-friendly locations that are you can reach out to and negotiate those filming rates. We have crew and services in our production directories where you can find the local camera vendor or grip and lighting vendor or those crew members that you still need to fill in, your PAs, your production managers, or whatever you're looking for. So I do think it's unique. At the state level, we also manage our state's film tax incentive program. So projects in our state, projects that spend at least $500,000 in qualified spend can apply. So I would say it just depends on your unique situation, because we can help with almost anything.
I agree with that. I think the takeaway is, don't be intimidated. Yes, we have the state seal and we work for the governor, but like Rob said, we're just people, and we get as passionate about your project as you are, because we want to help you tell your story. And so that's the passion for us, as Kim mentioned, when you see the special thanks or filmed in Nevada or whatever, to see that scroll and you know the names of the people at the end credits. And also, we have experience, and we're a one-stop shop. We could take the guesswork out of your project. So instead of you calling around to all the locations and saying, is this a good fit or whatever, we have the knowledge. For example, what hotels on the Strip are the most film-friendly? You can call all the hotels yourself, or we can advise you on, well, this hotel is going to say no to that because of this, or this hotel is more friendly with independents, so things like that. Or if you have something in your script, we'll break it down. We'll say, like, no, you know what? That's federal land. It's going to take you too long to permit. Why don't you do this other location that could still double for that? Sometimes if an independent filmmaker comes in, especially film students, low, no budget, the point is we will help every budget, every size project. So if you're an executive from Sony, Warner Brothers, Netflix, we're giving the same service as we would give to you with your low, no budget, selling your pizza and beer to make your film. So the same service applies across the board. I think that's the takeaway.
Okay, great. I got a sign there that we're coming close to the end of our time, so I'm gonna wrap it up with a couple of last questions here. Do you have to have a business license in your state to film there? And when planning to film in your respective state or city, at what point in pre-production should a producer on a project reach out to your film office to get the ball rolling?
In Texas, there are no special licenses or business requirements for making a film. And as early as possible, reach out as early as you can. Because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, if you reach out 6, 8, 12 months before a project, and I have a kind of an idea of what you're doing and the locations you're looking at, there may be things that happen after that I'm talking to people and I find oh my gosh, here's a new rodeo arena, or here's a new empty building that has a complete warehouse facility that's available. Those are things that if I know what your project is, then I can put you in touch with those people.
Nice.
Yeah, so in Nevada, you don't need a state business license to apply for a film permit. The way it works on a government level is those film permits act as a temporary business license, so you don't need a full-term business license just to do temporary work. That's what the film permit covers. That's why you should apply. In Nevada, like City of Las Vegas permits are free. Clark County permits are $45. It doesn't take a lot to get started. So we do recommend that you just do what you need to operate legitimately. And what was the other part?
At what point in pre-production should it produce?
Same as Drew. As early in the process as possible. What we don't like hearing as much is, oh, I've been trying to make this film for 3 months and all of a sudden I have this huge problem that I now need your help to fix. If you had come to us earlier, just as a friendly hello, maybe you don't need our resources at the point where you are, but just making that connection with our office so we're aware of what you're doing, perhaps point out those pitfalls before you fall in them, so that we're not trying to clean something up that makes a much bigger mess after you're already in it than if you had just come to us in the beginning and we could have steered you in the direction to avoid it altogether.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk so much about the business, what was it, the business entity part, but I want to talk about insurance. So to film, to pull a permit from the public right-of-way, that's the parts in Nevada that you need a permit for. Everybody needs liability insurance. So no matter if you're filming at a hotel or a street or whatever, you need $1 million in liability insurance typically to pull a permit. It's much higher for the casinos. But you want that. That is for your safety. That's for your protection if someone gets hurt on set, if you get hurt on set, if equipment breaks, things like that. So highly recommend, doing things legitimately because that's to protect yourself. I don't know what else.
Okay, no, that's good, that's good. And so last question here. How big would you say your filmmaker community is in your respective areas, and where can we get in contact with you? Drew?
Well, it varies. We have a number of educational institutions, University of Texas at El Paso, and we're also about 40 miles from New Mexico State University that both have film and digital media programs. So we have 100 to 300 people working in digital media at any one time, in addition to all our broadcasters and commercial production companies. It is, as you all know, I mean, the process is becoming more and more democratized. Its equipment is becoming more easily available, and there are more and more people creating, even with telephones, than in the past. So it's easy to do, it's easy to get started, especially in Texas.
And how can they get in contact with you?
We are online. We are on social media. Our handle is Creative El Paso. So on Instagram and Facebook. I don't do TikTok right now because I don't have a young assistant to help me understand that. But we try. We're also on the web at creativeelpaso.org.
So you can get a hold of us at nevadafilm.com, and I'll let Danette go over the social media because that's her job.
Well, thank you for putting me on the spot because I don't remember all of the handles, but they all have something to do with Nevada Film. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram are the main things. We're also on LinkedIn. Again, no TikTok. I don't know what to do with that.
So in terms of how deep our crew, our crew base.
How robust is everything looking, and how's the filmmaker community look in Las Vegas?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we are actually a very small filmmaking community, but we are a little kind of cliquey, I would say, because you have the people who work on conventions. We're a big convention town. We have the commercial crew. We have the independent filmmaker crew. We have the union crew. We are a right-to-work state, so you can work union or non, depending on the project. But when a larger production calls our office, we usually say we're about 1 to 2 deep in terms of our crew base. But that's just for those larger like feature films or TV shows that want to come film here. The local independent filmmakers are really kind of our bread and butter. We have a lot of great and talented people who live and work in Las Vegas and just create, and it's amazing. Yeah.
I think one thing to remember is if you know one film commissioner, you know many, because I have their number. I know film commissioners all over the world, and as do you all. So we're really an interesting resource. We'll talk to each other regularly, and that's an important thing to remember.
I agree. There's like friends from Montana or Utah or whatever, and maybe your film doesn't work for that area, but they'll say, hey, call Nevada. Have you thought of that? Or, people have come to me with, I have a film set in Chicago, and I'm like, did you call Chicago? Things like that. But like Kim said, 1 to 2 deep on the crew. That means if there's 4 big projects going on in the state, we have trouble finding production assistants. There was pre-COVID, we had 2 things filming in Southern Nevada and 2 things filming in the northern Nevada, and we couldn't find enough production assistants to fill it all. That hasn't been like that since then, but there's a lot of opportunity for growth, a lot of opportunity for workforce development, and we're hoping to grow that community. It's like little big town, I call it. It's like everyone knows each other kind of thing.
Big city, small town, right? That's what it is. Okay, I think that's our time now. Everybody, thank you so much for taking all the information in. We had a great time here.